Hey guys, it's Dean. Welcome to Manfly Yoga. This workout is a short yoga for sciatic pain relief video. So this workout is going to directly address the sciatic nerve, so releasing tension on the sciatic nerve by stretching your piriformis. But we're also going to address some of the causes of that muscle tightness, so just working on general hip mobility and doing so in a way that does not aggravate sciatic pain or does not cause sciatic pain. And that is mainly by avoiding forward folds. So doing yoga in a way that doesn't hurt you if you have sciatica. All right, so you're gonna need a block and a strap for this routine, and you're gonna get started at the top of the mat. So top of the mat, we're gonna step back into a warrior one to get started. Left foot back, pointed out 45 degrees. And you can take this as shallow as you want to. Our goal is to stretch through the left side of your groin. Want to do the best that we can to square your hips forward, press down through both feet with your back foot. Make sure that you're pushing into the outer edge and the heel of your back foot, and then think about lifting your torso and turning your shoulders to face straight forward. Bring your arms up and hold here. So as you inhale, think about getting taller. As you exhale, sink deeper into the stretch. So two things I really want you to focus on here in the context of sciatic pain is keeping your core engaged and thinking about lifting your ribs away from your hips, so you're building core strength, but also on stretching through your groin, so just working on the mobility of your hips. I'm going to hold here for 3 more breaths. As you do this, we're also working on strength. It does take endurance and hip strength to hold yourself up. Make sure to keep that centered in the hips and not shift all the weight to the front knee. Okay, go ahead and step back up. Toes touch, arms overhead. If you want to here, you can use a strap if you find it difficult to bring your arms all the way up overhead, so you can hold that about shoulder width distant. And then lean into a standing side bend, leaning toward the right. As you inhale, think about lengthening your body, so pushing down through your feet, getting as long as you can from your heels to the top of your head. And as you exhale, just slightly increasing the depth of that bend. So this is working on core strength. We're also working on side body mobility. So stretching the areas that connect to your low back, working on stretching the hips, but also building core strength, which helps to address some of the root causes of sciatic pain. Last breath. Back to the middle. Release the strap. Step back to a warrior one, other side. So now right leg is back, pointed out 45 degrees. Knees over the ankle and the back foot. Push into the outer edge and the heel of your back foot. Sorry, knee is over the ankle and the front foot. And then squeeze your legs toward one another, so the right foot squeezes forward, the left heel squeezes back, and you want to feel your left glute, actually both glutes engaging here. Ribs lift away from the hips, so you're getting nice and tall, working on core strength, and arms are up overhead. As you exhale, allow your hips to sink further forward. So working deeper into the stretch. Again, working on your groin mobility here. So feeling your right side of the groin. This is working on your adductors, those muscles that strengthen the inner thighs, or that are the inner thighs. And stay here for 3 breaths. Every exhale, think about recommitting to the pose. So continuing to squeeze the hips, continuing to squeeze the legs toward one another, and pulling your belly button toward your low back. This isn't about sucking your stomach in. It's about engaging your core. If you do kind of need more help with that, check out the Strength Foundations course. That's going to go in a lot of detail on how to engage your core without holding your breath. All right, and go ahead and stand up. Toes touch, arms overhead. If you want to use the strap, hold the strap overhead. If not, interlace the fingers. And as you exhale, lean toward your left, hips come toward the right. Remember, staying as tall as we can, staying tall and firm, but also bending to the side. Take a few breaths here. Keep your breathing slow and controlled. You can work deeper into this bend. Just make sure that you're maintaining strength. All right, bring it back to the middle. Release your hands. And then from here, step back into a lunge. Big step back with your left foot. Keep your chest upright, shoulders on top of your hips, and lower your hips toward the ground. Lower that back knee to the ground. Keep your body in, or keep your spine in a neutral position. So sciatic pain is aggravated, or it's provoked, or it happens when we round our back. If we have too much tightness in the piriformis and it's brushing against the sciatic nerve. So avoid rounding your back or doing any sort of flexion with your spine to help avoid aggravating that. So we're working on allowing the hips to sink forward here. Still developing hip strength by pushing down through both feet. It helps to keep your back toes tucked here in this low lunge. That's going to reduce pressure on the knee, allow us to use the left leg a little bit more, and just helps us build a little bit more strength and mobility. As you inhale, you're getting taller. As you exhale, you're letting your hips sink further forward, but always, again, still maintaining strength through the core here. You can also think pulling your right heel back, squeezing your heel toward your butt for a little more hamstring engagement. And one more breath here. All right, release your hands down. Without leaning forward, push down through your foot, stand back up, and switch sides. Big step back with your right foot now. So starting in a high lunge position, and then slowly, without leaning forward, releasing that right knee to the ground. Continuing to push down through your left heel. So not just dumping all that weight into the right leg and being passive with this lunge, but really driving down through your left foot, making sure that your left thigh and your left hip are supporting your body weight and not just putting that all on your knee, because that could cause pain or discomfort, and we want to avoid that. Arms can come up. Deep breaths. And as you exhale, just allowing your hips to sink forward. So we're not necessarily pressing your hips forward here. We're just using your breath, using the exhale, and that relaxation that comes with the exhale to allow our hips to sink deeper into this lunge. You're not forcing it, using your breath to work deeper though. A couple more breaths. And you're going to feel a stretch to the front of your right hip here. Continue to squeeze your right glute if you can. Again, keeping the toes tucked helps with better, more muscle activation through your right leg. And think about squeezing your left heel toward your left glute for a little more strength there. Last breath. All right, and then release your hands down. Push down through your left foot, really strong. Stand up all the way. And then moving into chair pose. So toes touch, heels an inch apart. Very important, keep your back flat here, keep your abs tight. Bring your butt back, keep your chest aimed somewhat forward. Weight goes into your hips, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your thighs toward one another, and bring your arms up. Excuse me. So knees are going to stay behind the toes here. More so here, focusing on keeping the back flat, engaging the right muscles, rather than going as deep as you can into it. If you want to increase the difficulty here, you can sink lower into it, but just make sure that your back stays flat. If you notice that your butt starts to come under your body, or your back starts to round and you kind of cave in through the chest, you're doing this incorrectly. So again, focus on the strength and the proper muscles here. Don't worry so much about depth. Go a little bit lower, disregarding entirely what I just said. One more breath. and then stand up. Squeeze your butt, drive forward. A little bit of a back bend here. Let's bring the arms up. Lift your chest up, squeeze your arms back. One breath. And then release. Okay, from here we're going to do a figure 4 standing balance. So I want you to put your right hand against a wall, so your right side of your body facing the wall. And then left foot forward. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh, just above the knee. Make a figure 4 with your legs. If you need to, you might have to hold your right ankle with your left hand. And then from here, kind of sit down like you just did for a chair pose. Keep your inner thigh facing up. Flex your right toes back toward your shin. Keep your hips squared. And then kind of sink into this figure 4 balance. So this is an active stretch for your glutes, for your external hip rotators and your piriformis. So this is one exercise that is extremely effective for alleviating sciatic pain and directly addressing what causes that. So this is a really nice stretch you can do to help with immediately getting rid of sciatic pain. But it does take some warm-up to do, right? So we didn't go straight into it because it does take some mobility, it does take some body awareness, which is why we didn't start off with this exercise. As you hold it, you're welcome to sink deeper into the stretch, so kind of going deeper into this lunge or this single leg squat. Make sure that you're keeping your chest upright. And I've got my hand on the wall here, so I don't really have to worry about the balance aspect of this. If you want to work on your balance, you're welcome to bring your hand away from the wall, but just for the sake of focusing on this for sciatic pain relief, I've still got my hand on the wall. All right, then go ahead and stand up. That was a pretty long hold. We're going to switch sides. So now left side of the body faces the wall. I'm going to cross my left ankle over my right knee now, making that figure 4. The inner thigh faces out. Make sure that the shin is facing straight forward and not facing down. And then sit into your one leg squat. Keep your chest upright. It helps to kind of be aware of your hip positioning. Try to get your hips squared straight forward. If you want to, if you feel like your leg is sliding, you can hold your left ankle with your right hand. Just make sure that there's no pressure on the knee. It helps to think about engaging your hamstrings and your calves here, so kind of squeezing to bring your calf and your thigh toward one another, and then also flex your toes toward your shin, and that will protect your knee. If you do have, any sort of knee issues, ligament mainly, so if you have maybe an MCL or an ACL issue, this is going to help protect that. And then we've got a couple breaths here, mostly focusing on the stretch to the outer left thigh. Keep your chest upright, so I want you to look straight forward. Make sure you're not looking down, otherwise that could cause your lower back to round. One more breath here. And go ahead and stand up. Release the left foot down. Nice job. We're going to move down to the ground into a plank. So working on some core strength here. Get into this safely. Make sure you don't round your back. So if you want to step back to the lunge to get down, it might be an easier way to keep your back in a safe position and not aggravate that sciatic pain. And you can do the plank on your knees if you want. If you want to take it up into a full plank, go for knees up. Pull your belly button toward your lower back. And to make this more intense and make sure that we get a more effective workout in less time, squeeze your hands and your feet toward one another. Press the top of the head forward. And just holding here for 3 breaths. So that's it. If you're having pain in your back here, work on using your core more. Squeeze your hips and make sure that your back is neutral. So don't round your back. Don't arch your back. Keep it straight. One more breath. All right, keeping your core engaged. Chest open, slowly lower yourself to the ground. Flip your feet. Press the top of your feet into the ground. Squeeze your legs toward one another, so pressing your big toes together and squeezing. Push your feet into the ground. And then use your core and your hip strength to lift your chest 3 inches off the ground.
So coming into a very strong cobra, but not using the hands here. Think about squeezing your elbows toward one another and then pulling them down toward the hips. And we're here for about 15 seconds. Continue to push down through your feet, squeeze your thighs, use your core. This is a really good exercise to work on your posture. Sciatic pain is, yes, the direct cause is that pressure on the sciatic nerve, but we also want to work on our posture and core strength in general, because if you sit too much, it's another big cause of the sciatic pain. And then release down. From here, we're going to come into a lizard. So start off, come into a tabletop, step your right foot up to the outer edge of the mat, bring a block inside your right foot, hands to that block, pull your chest forward and up. Big stretch for your groin and your hip flexors, and hold here. Shoulders relaxing. Remember, keep your chest upright here. Don't allow your back to round. This is a really big stretch for your hips. Really good for working on your overall hip flexibility. As you exhale, you might notice that you can work deeper into the stretch. Don't force it, just allow your body to stretch as much as it wants to go. So you're just using gravity, you're using your breath to work deeper. One more breath. And then release, come back to tabletop. You're gonna switch sides, step your left foot up and out on the mat. So this is basically a really wide lunge. Right knee is back. Keep your toes tucked if you want to put less pressure on the right knee. By the way, if you have pain in your knees and positions where your knees have to go down, I recommend putting a towel in the short term. I recommend putting a towel or some sort of pad underneath your knee. If you're currently rolling up your yoga mat, that's pretty annoying to do in the moment. So I'd also recommend getting yourself a thicker yoga mat. The Manful Yoga Cork Yoga Mat is a lot thicker than traditional mats, so highly recommend getting one of those if you don't have them yet. That's going to prevent knee pain from happening. Take another few breaths in lizard. Again, chest pulls forward and up. Abs can stay tight here. If you can keep your muscles engaged, particularly keeping your glutes and your core here, that's going to help you get a deeper stretch through your hip flexors and your inner thighs. One more breath. All right, and then come back to tabletop. We're gonna move into our final stretch, pigeon. So hands on the ground, under your shoulders, bring your right knee toward your right wrist, bring your right foot across the body. Hips might stay up initially. Crawl your left leg back into pigeon. So inner right thigh is facing up, outer thigh faces down. Your right hip is externally rotated, and the left leg is facing kneecap, and the top of the leg are facing the ground directly. Now, if this is really uncomfortable for you, I'm going to have you put your left foot against a wall, lying on your back, and then cross your right ankle over your left thigh, just like we did for that standing figure four, except now you're on the ground in a more relaxed position. So you can do pigeon or you can do reclined figure four. If pigeon seems really out of the question, or it hurts your knees, or you're just not comfortable with it for whatever reason, reclined figure four is a great alternative to this, but I highly recommend putting your left foot or whatever leg you're not stretching, putting that against the wall. It's going to make it a lot more effective because you don't have to worry about holding the back of your leg and kind of crunching up here. Take a couple more breaths in whatever external hip rotator stretch you've selected, whether that's pigeon or reclined figure four. It helps to keep your toes flexed and your right leg somewhat active to protect the knee. And then release. So again, you've got options here. We can do the pigeon, Switching sides. So you can do left knee to left wrist, left foot across the body. Notice that my inner thigh is facing up, my chest is pulling forward, and my weight is pretty much centered here. You can use your hands to help out at first. That's a good idea to kind of help you figure out where your body weight is and use that to try and get your body weight as centered as possible. Make sure that your right leg, hug your right leg in toward the middle, kneecap faces down, and put more weight in your hands initially if it's too much pressure on your hips. Over time, you can start to shift that weight into the hips. Hold here if pigeon is okay. If you want to do that reclined figure four instead, lay down on your back, put your right foot against the wall, cross your left ankle over your right thigh, toes flex toward the shins, left leg is somewhat active, so engaging your hamstrings and your calves, and then just holding here. Again, using the wall is really nice because you can completely relax here as opposed to having to worry about holding the back of your right leg. Deep breathing. As you exhale, relaxing more with the stretch. So especially with this stretch, if you're really tight, it's going to be challenging at first. The more you can remind yourself to breathe and to be okay with that discomfort, the quicker it goes away. And if you're really tight, you might even feel initially like you have a little bit of a headache, or you might feel just a little sick for a few seconds, and that's totally normal. Usually your body relaxes. We just want to make sure that we're avoiding sharp pain. So if you feel something that says, ow, don't do that, then definitely don't do that. But a little bit of discomfort, that's okay. It should go away. All right, and then uncross that leg. If you're in that pigeon, roll out into a seated position. And that is it. So guys, that was our quick yoga for sciatic pain relief, or yoga for sciatica routine. This is a really common problem, and the main cause is that we're sitting too much. So you can address that by working on your hip mobility, by working on your core strength, and then to immediately address the pain, you can do stretches that work that stretch the piriformis, which are that one we just did at the end, that reclined figure four, that standing figure four balance, and also pigeon. So those are all really going to help. But then any sort of stretch where we're working hip mobility without rounding your back, so those lunges that we did at the beginning, those side bends, those are also going to be really helpful as well. Thanks for sticking around. I want to invite you to join me for my free 7-day challenge, Beginners Yoga for Men. 7 workouts, 7 days to help hold you accountable, to help you learn yoga and feel the results of your workouts. I'm also going to give you a free gift when you sign up, a head and neck essentials routine, 25 minutes to help your shoulders, your neck, your head feel great and relieve stress. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you on my challenge.